Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and guess what time it is? Yes, it's that time. Time to take a look at the old English dragoon pistol I was shooting the other day. Take off my old prison cover. As you can see, we've cleaned her up nicely. If you looked at the last video, you've seen how dirty she was. She was quite dirty, she was. And we have our flint there. So what we're going to do is go back on the subject that I talked about. Got a paper towel here. Yes, sirree. The subject I talked about with breaking in your lock. And I'm no expert. I know almost nothing, so I'll just tell you that this little spring right here, the spring right there, this part right here, right there, that's where it compresses at, and that's what, when you pull this hammer back into the half-cock position and lock it, this comes down. It's stiff on that spring, and you can't hardly really see it move. But needless to say, it's like a glass. You drop it. It's not the drop that breaks the glass, but the sudden stop. So this here hammer cock has a spring in it as well. So when you pull it all the way back, you pull the trigger and it flies up. It's not that breaks it, but it's the sudden stop. This here is like, you ever drop something and you kind of got a hold of it all the way to the ground and it don't break, like a ceramic bowl or glass or something. Yeah, and it saves the day. Where you stick your foot out and break the fall. That's what this is doing. When it hits it, striking down to bring out your old sparks off the steel, it's breaking the fall of the hammer. Without that, it's the sudden stop, which gives you the potential chance of damaging your spring. So, if you want this to work better, you can grease up. Put a little lithium grease or just some silicone or lube on top of that spring, and it helps it slide a whole lot better. We're talking about, let's say you just want to take and dry fire it. Well, this one here, as you can see, pulls a pretty decent spark. So what we'll do is we'll take out this flint, right? Loosen this up. I love these screws on top to tighten up the flint with the holes through it so you can turn them. This one here's got just the notch and that's it on it. Don't have a hole through it. Loosen her up. Take the old flint out. As you can see, the old flint doesn't look too bad. It's sharp on the corners, pretty much, but the middle, it's got a little bit of dip in it. And then we'll take it and we can put in this piece of wood, which I'm hoping, well, I guess I'm gonna have to use the leather too, because the wood's a little thin. I didn't rehearse none of this, but you know. And we're going to take and tighten this piece of wood up in there. Ouch. Yes, let's hope we can do that. Yes. Let's pull that back. See if it clears. Oh yeah, it does. But it's almost hitting the top of the frizzen instead of being down like it should be. So what we got to do, we've got to angle that down. That's for sure. Or, well, it might be just a hair too long. That might be the trouble. Well, anyway, let's see. Maybe I should have redid it or did this, like pre-did this. Tilt it down. Maybe, huh? I had one that worked really good. But what I did with that piece of wood, so I'm stuck with this one. Tighten her up. She's good and snug. Close it up. I'm still getting, I mean, she's hitting her. I think it'll be all right. I'm thinking it'll be all right. Yes. And that piece of wood, you don't scrape your frizzen. You don't have sparks flying everywhere. Nothing like that. So like I said, if you're sitting there on your oxygen tank, you don't have to take a chance of getting yourself in trouble. And you can just play with it like that. But the best thing to do, put a little oil there on that. I use WD-40, a little lithium grease, silicone, it all works. Same with the inside for that, needless to say. And you can play with that all you want to. I don't believe that you'll hurt it. If anybody's ever done that and caused any damage to the lock, it'd be interesting to know. I don't think you can damage the lock by playing around with it like that. I don't think. All right, so now let us take our piece of flint. We have a piece of leather we use. On there, you see. And I soaked that leather in WD-40. I don't know if that's a smart thing to do, but I did it. And so we shall take and open this up and set this flint back in there, nice and steady and straight. I usually lay it down to do this kind of stuff, but today I'm not doing that because I'm trying to show you. If you lay it on the table, what if you don't have a table and you had to do it standing up? It's a terrible day and you have to do it standing up. And then you want to take and look at it, move your frizzen down and see if that baby is hitting on it nice and straight. And then you can take and tighten her down gently. Be gentle. You don't want to strip out the end of your screw, so you want to be careful when you tighten her down. Get her good and tight. Test it. Don't seem to move any. It looks pretty good. Okay, and that's that. And let's see what kind of spark she pulls. Yes, she pulled some spark. But if she pulled a second load of spark, yep, sparks are flying. So anyway, and that's the light English dragoon. And that way you can set and play around with them and dry fire them and whatever. But if you look at that closely, you can see that. You'll see that spring right there. If I can get it just right, you'll see it compress. And you go to move that back, and you'll see it go up and down. Now sometimes if it's not working just right, you can loosen this little screw up a little bit and then work it, and then it'll do better. But that's basically all there is to it. It's nothing too bad. Prison screw was just a wee bit loose, it was. You get in there and tighten it just a hair. I think it'll work just fine. Yep. Well, oh, I know why I had it loosened up a hair, so it would open up all the way. That's why. That's the thing with this. It's a little bit of a pain in the batushki that way, huh? But that's like that's just a mild little something that you might have trouble with. Other than that, she ain't too bad. But we cleaned it all up after shooting it the other day. It wasn't hard to do. You just have to take out these two screws. Be careful, you don't want to strip them and mess them up. And that's pretty much how you can play with them. And dry fire them if you want to. If you got a stiff spring or a stiff lock or something and you think that might help it. No guarantee that that would help it, but it certainly won't hurt it. And you'll save on your frizzen or your steel. You're not going to be able to scratch it all up and keep sparking and wasting your spark or damaging your flint. So, because flints are like, I don't know, you can get them for like a couple bucks or so, maybe $2.50, somewhere in there. And that works pretty good. Anyway, I wanted to do that video. You know, I didn't rehearse it or go through it or nothing, so I'm like, okay, so we're doing this, what do you call it? live and green. Yeah, live and green. All right, well, I got that up. We're done, and we're good to go. White Dragoon Elliott pistol. I seem to always want to shoot it. I think because it's just easy to clean. That's the main thing. But they're all not that hard to clean anyway. It's just I'm more familiar with it apparently, and so I'm like, hey, let's shoot that. And I think with my elbow causing me some trouble, it's one of the lighter flintlock pistols. So anyway,
It's lighter. It's lighter.
yes, it is. It is lighter, and it doesn't mess with my elbow. I guess we'd call it a tennis elbow or something, right? Anyway, so that is that. Think of anything else I could do? Oh, oh my goodness, I'm sure I could. If I thought about it long, I might. Well, let me sign off of here and get away from the old phone and see what I can come up with next. But I wanted to show that to everybody. It's just food for thought. It's not nothing that's, what do you call, etched in stone.
It's not etched in stone, I say.
It's just how it is, and then how I see it. So, but yes, a little lithium grease. That's a white grease, and if you wonder what they use that for, they used to use it on the old cars back in the back brakes on the spring, the little thing that goes over to hold the shoes on at the top or whatever. They put a little grease on that so when the shoes work back and forth, it's a white lithium grease, and it's a nice little grease. And I would use that on there, but probably I would prefer WD-40 or silicone, something slickery, and that way the bottom of the frizzen can slide up and down there real good. So if it gets, you know, a bit, it's not smooth and polished, it's not going to work as good. Need a good, smooth, polished spring top there, inside and outside, to get that stuff working good. Stuff you don't think about, or if you do think about it. All right. So, all right, let me sign off here. We'll see you all later. Hope you're having a great day.